Greetings, everyone. My name is Jerry Bracamani, and this is my Organizational Communication Problem Analysis and Action Plan for COM 450. I will be presenting how Lake Havasu City can streamline the special event permit process through organizational communication between the Parks and Recreation Department and my office as the Community Engagement Officer. So let's get started. According to Miller et al. 2025, Lake Havasu City operates under a classical management structure characterized by a vertical chain of command with a strict workflow that begins with the citizens, the Lake Havasu City Mayor and City Council, the city manager, and then ultimately the staff. However, the Parks and Recreation staff and I work under a multiplex relationship across multiple departments, making that clear communication difficult when we are disconnected, according to Miller et al. 2025. That breakdown in communication affects both internal challenges for staff, but also external frustration for customers who rely on that efficient permitting process. The core problem is a breakdown in organizational communication across the special event permitting process. Employees report unclear steps, miscommunication, and there's no centralized culture or shared understanding of how things work. We have two different software systems being used on opposite sides of town. We have RecTrack at the Parks and Recreation office, and we have MainStar, which is in my office. And the RecTrack reserves the parks, and then MainStar reserves the special event, and then process that permit. Because these platforms don't communicate with each other, customers are often getting bounced around or ping-ponged across town as our staff try to figure out who handles what. So 66.7% of the staff felt unclear about the steps in the process, and this confusion leads to delays, frustration for both the employees and the customers. And also employee morale was brought up as one of the other issues. And this reflects what Xanon emphasized in her video lecture 2025. When employees are not fully socialized into an organization, this causes many problems, right? Including dissatisfaction, poor performance, and also conflict. These are some staff responses from the survey that I conducted, all expressing a lack of communication in the process. The last one, however, is from the director in an interview with her and was the most surprising. When I asked her what the culture felt like when she arrived a year ago, she explained there really wasn't a culture, that it felt toxic and uncomfortable for many individuals. So that was the most surprising for me. The benefit of addressing this problem is that it offers a realistic opportunity to improve that workflow through employee involvement, leading to more participatory process for future special events. This communication breakdown leads to what Miller et al. 2025 call high equivocality, low interdependence, and poor sense making. The high equivocality, where employees are uncertain how to interpret the right course of action. Low interdependence is created by siloed workflows and separated systems. And then also the poor sense making emerges when employees cannot access guidelines or have consistent expectations. So ultimately, these breakdowns impact public trust, right? The city's ability to provide reliable customer service. And then finally, further, according to a video lecture from Xanon 2025, she defines interdependence as one system relying on another system. So that's where we're at. Parks and Recreation is relying on the Community Engagement Officer system, and the Community Engagement system is relying on the Parks and Recreation system. There are 4 root causes: a lack of standardized workflow, 2 separate payment systems, insufficient cross-training, and recent employee and leadership turnover in the department, all of which are contributing to this confusion. My 10-week action plan is low cost, realistic, and theoretically sound, but it has a lot of moving parts. It builds a centralized workflow, appoints a liaison and cross-trained staff, establishes shared technology tools, updates the handbook, and then also schedules monthly meetings. The plan is consistent with classical organizational theory, human relations principles, technological control, and also equivocality management, according to Miller et al. 2025. During the first 4 weeks, staff from both divisions will work together to create a streamlined workflow. This includes aligning the RecTrack system at Parks and Recreation along with the MainStar system in the community division. Reviewing our current forms, establishing assembly rules, a concept Miller et al. 2025 describe as guidelines for reducing equivocality, and also helping employees make consistent decisions. Involving the staff early also helps secure buy-in and ensures practical alignment. In weeks 5 through 7, the director will assign a special event liaison, or what Xanon 2025 refers to as a network star, who helps disseminate information quickly. Cross-training employees could also reduce confusion, build interdependence, and reduce role conflict, thereby creating redundancy when staff are out of the office or when we have turnover that occurs. And also, it improves the customer service. According to Miller et al. 2025, one way to exert control in the workplace is through technological control, which involves the use of software programs. Week 8 focuses on training the liaison in the main star and then also training myself in RepTrack to allow us to provide accurate information when customers have questions and we kind of know what's going on. A shared Microsoft Outlook calendar is also going to be included, and that will give divisions a real-time view parks reservations, but also reduce those double bookings. According to the video lecture from Xanon 2025, technology affordances are based on both the technology material, but also the individual experiences. So together, these actions create a short-term, one-stop shop solution while the city explores long-term software updates. In week 9, we update the outdated 2021 Special Events Handbook. This includes standardizing checklists and language, adding step-by-step instructions, but also adding those visual maps of the process. We also update the city website and the finalized handbook, and then we also include a frequently asked questions section that will give the customers and staff a reliable reference point. In week 10, we launched monthly coordination meetings with the director, the liaison, the superintendents, but also the administrative staff that you saw in that earlier chain of command. Miller et al. 2025 suggests that meetings align with the human relations approach by providing employees with structured opportunities to both give and receive feedback. And then additionally, according to Xanon 2025, in her lecture video, these meetings support the human relations approach because communication and participation ultimately improves morale. This plan uses existing resources, technology systems, forums, staff time, and digital media coordinator for updates. This digital media coordinator will update the website, but also maybe do some social media posts to help promote this new change. Because no new funding is required, implementation is feasible. Staff workload is the biggest challenge here. So there's no additional cost for implementation. The only added element would be if there was a chance to combine both pay systems into one. Funding and leadership support would be needed in the future. But this remains a very realistic and workable solution with no additional cost. There are some potential challenges, such as staff workload, resistance to new workflows, turnover, limited integration between the RecTrack system and the main star system, and the need for continued leadership support. So anticipating these challenges allows me to plan for them. However, communication will be the key to progress and success here. According to Xanon 2025 in her video lecture, she talks about how sometimes solutions can also have unintended consequences to be aware of, right? And then also she offers that conflict management strategies include compromise, accommodations, and collaboration that can help resolve those conflicts while they remain small. The plan is grounded in classical theory, human relations, sense-making, and technological control, according to Miller et al. 2025, that we learned in our studies. After all, also according to Xanon 2025, planned organizational change comes from intentional efforts by the organization that involves systematic planning and implementation, which I plan to incorporate with this action plan. Alignment of workflows, role definitions, and supporting technology will reduce that equivocality, increase the interdependence, and support better sense making across the division with a common workflow. The plan promotes clarity, consistency, and cross-departmental collaboration, but it also highlights some potential hurdles like time constraints and a need for periodic review in its execution over time. Here are my APA citations for both the textbook and the lecture resources. Thank you for watching. I'm really excited to jumpstart this communication plan and put it into action in real life.